from my heart and from my hand. Why don't people understand my intention?
Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
Now listen, Lavernius, shake a face.
I'm shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds.
You could use it to fight off creeping marauders looking to take your steaks off your grills.
I just like being anywhere with Junior, Senior, and Diva.
Sounds like a whole other type of movie.
Wow. Yeah, really. Keep it hot, keep it clean, keep it lubricated.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
All right, welcome to the second hour of the show, folks. Yeah, that's right. After Dark. Joey Chestnut coming up here in just about 3 minutes. Well, just about 2 minutes, I guess, if my math was right. Math sucks. Hey, this is the Barbecue Central Show presented by the 5th Annual Taste of the Deerfield Valley. Myron Mixon headlines this September in Vermont with a VIP dinner, cooking demonstration, food festival, lots of delicious food to eat. Get your spot today by visiting CelebrateTheValley.com. CelebrateTheValley.com. You want to hang out with Myron Mixon, and you want to do it in Vermont. I've gotten emails from you from a number of people. When is that Myron Mixon coming to Vermont? Well, guess what? It's going to be September 10th through the 12th. So be sure to check that out. Plus beer pairing. I mean, what doesn't make you want to jump to the phone and hit a beer pairing? Love the beer pairing, right? Love the beer pairing. It's one of the best things ever. It's like wine. It's like wine, yet it's beer. All right. I'm glad we could straighten that out. All right, so we're going to go ahead and raise up Joey Chestnut on the phone here. So let's go ahead and race. Let's race over to the hotline. Joining us now here on the Barbecue Central Show is currently ranked number 1 in the world of the competitive food as administered by the International Federation of Competitive Eating. Friend of the show, Joey Chestnut, reloading after last week. Joey, how are you, buddy?
Doing pretty good. It's great to be on with you.
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I certainly have you here, Joe, and I'm glad we're finally able to hook up, and I'm glad you made time again this week for us here. So certainly a number of things that we can talk about. We're obviously a few weeks removed from what is widely considered to be the event in competitive eating every year, that being the Nathan's World Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest. And you've already actually seen action since that event, which we'll get into here in just a little bit. But let's go ahead and look back on the events leading up to July 4th. And certainly this year, there was even more drama preceding the event itself, with the eater widely considered to be kind of your biggest rival in this sport, Kobayashi. And he was in this middle of I think they termed a labor impasse during the middle of that week. And at that point, it was speculated that he wouldn't compete in the event itself. That actually ended up being the case. To me, it was kind of similar to horse racing, where you have two favorites like you and Kobayashi, and then one of the horses gets scratched day of the race. And then you kind of have you, which is definitely the favorite, and then the rest of the field. And while they're certainly ready to run, they just don't seem to have that pedigree or that experience of winning in the big events to overtake you. So when it was confirmed that you heard that Kobayashi wasn't going to be in to eat on July 4th, did you feel like this is yours to win and you just needed to have a consistent performance in order to win that 4th consecutive mustard belt?
It was, I knew I could win it no matter what, and I was disappointed. I was looking to come in with it for a really tough competition, and I was disappointed that I did what I had to do. I knew I could go out there and beat anybody, but I was hoping I'd have to be there to push the new record.
And certainly this is like the biggest event during the course of the year. There's a lot of TV exposure. I mean, could you ever personally imagine that you would be in a position where you would voluntarily, or I guess almost voluntarily, sit out because of some type of labor dispute you have with the IFOCE?
Oh, it's a weird situation. I don't necessarily believe that that's why he sat out. I think there was something else going on. Because the contract they initially wanted to sign was the same one he's been signing for 7 years, and the same one I've been signing. And basically, it states that he's not going to go out and promote another hot dog brand or do a contest that directly contradicts the sponsors of that contest. And I think they're doing something else. Whether I don't know if he was injured or something, and he just didn't want to tell me he was injured because he had the injury 3 years ago. But I think that he'll be back next year, and he'll be back and ready.
There was a lot of speculation before that potentially he was sitting out because there was a need for more money to compete in the event. Do you guys get some type of appearance fee or guarantee in order to take part in that?
Absolutely. There's ESPN involved, and there's Pepto-Bismol, great sponsor. There's Old Navy and Heinz Ketchup. So there is some money involved in competitive eating, and there are appearance fees and guarantees for the amount of media you do. And so he was asking for more money, and from what I understand, they agreed to pay him more money. I think they agreed to pay him like twice as much as they were paying me, which, we're not making a ton of money, but but he kept on asking for other things. So it was a weird situation, and I don't know if he it's weird. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And we're talking with Joey Chestnut. He is the number one ranked competitive eater for the IFOCE. Joey, to sit there, you've basically just said it right out that they were going to be paying him double. You've won this title in this just this past July 4th. This was your fourth winning of this event consecutively. To me, he's not necessarily the pinnacle of the sport anymore. Certainly, you've proven that you are the new standard by which any eater needs to compare himself to. Is it viewed in your eyes at all, and maybe by some of the fellow competitive eaters, as this big act of selfishness on his part that just kind of shows how disconnected he might be coming from this whole sport? Because it is kind of a niche sport for real.
It really is. And disconnected is the right word. He's not necessarily selfish, but he's no way around it. He's a great eater. He'll make me push myself to an amazing limit. And I respect his ability, but he's weird. If he's a competitive eater, and it's the biggest eating contest in the world. He should be there, whether he thinks he's going to win or whatnot. Or I don't think the money is that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal for me. It's not like he's going to go to work Monday morning and put on a hard hat. And this is what he does. He's a competitive eater. He should have been there.
Is it frustrating to you at all to know that he would potentially be getting that much more money than you to eat because of what you've done?
He's been doing this stuff for literally twice as long as me. So I can rationalize it in my head. But it is what it is. I'm not going to whine about it. I'll beat him. That's what I'll go out there and do.
That's right.
I'll let my numbers talk.
All right, we're talking with Joey Chestnut. Now, this is a great event, and certainly out of all the events that you take place in during the course of the year, you're happy to win every one that you probably take place in, but what's it like to actually be going on national television, even leading up to an event? You're doing cold pizza, you're doing all these other interviews, and then, of course, the biggest dedicated sports TV network out there is covering this thing, and they have been covering it every July 4th for however many years. What's the adrenaline like for you, and is this really just a completely different venue and experience than all the other events that you're going to be taking place in during the course of the year?
Oh, it's by far the biggest event, and it's without doubt the biggest event. And it's I have a countdown already. It's like 340 some odd days left till the next one, and 48 days. So it's my Super Bowl of competitive eating. It's what I look forward to, and I make sure my body's ready for it. I love it. Knowing that. It's weird. It's insane. I'm not disillusioned at all. I'm aware that it's crazy, but I love getting on stage and making these guys who they want nothing more than to beat me, and I'll make them. They'll literally go through pain and suffer, and most likely barf just trying to keep up with me.
That's awesome. We're talking with Joey Chestnut. He's number one ranked Major League Eater, is governed by IFOCE. So, enough of what all the drama that took place July 4th. But, kind of take us back, and you've been on the show here a couple times, Joey, and I know some of this is going to be repetitive for you, but we've gained a lot of listeners here. I think the first time we had you on was about a year ago in 2009 after the last Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. So for the new listeners that maybe aren't as familiar with what's happening prior to the event, they might watch it on television and see you cramming these buns and hot dogs down your mouth. But what kind of a training session are you in prior to this competition? What's the process?
Oh man, it's changed throughout the years, but for the hot dog contest, I'll get my body into a cycle where I'll do a practice contest, and then I'll fast, I'll recover, and I'll start fasting and getting ready for my next practice. So every about once every 4 days, I'll do a practice contest, and then going into the practice, I'm absolutely empty. And while I'm fasting, I'm drinking liquids like a madman, and I'll wake up in the morning and drink half a gallon of milk and maybe a gallon and a half of water. I make sure my body's just going from absolutely empty to 100% full as fast as possible.
When you're done at the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest, whether it be this year, and by the way, for the folks that don't know, you were able to go down with 54 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes. And that was actually less than it was last year when you had Kobayashi.
It was a lot less, but I think I won by 9 hot dogs. So I was cruising.
Yeah, that was certainly a number of hot dogs last year. But, 54, you got to be kidding me. That seems patently outrageous to most people. When you're done, are you full?
That one, I've been preparing to eat close to 70 for that contest. So I was upset with myself that I let the heat bother me, and then I let the whole Kobayashi situation get to me. I should have been pushing harder. But, I was happy I won. And I was deliriously happy because on the 4th of July, it was 40,000 people. But, right after the contest, it was a euphoric feeling just because I won. But about 20 minutes later, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. But then eventually it all starts to settle down deeper in my stomach, and the muscles start to relax, and the food starts to move its way through. I'm completely empty going into the contest. So it's going to be moving pretty quick.
And for the people that don't understand this, and we've talked about this before, Joey, you don't. Well, actually, I think I might have that. I might have that listed as another question down the line here. So we'll skip that for now. But have you ever injured yourself prior to an event during your training where you've actually had to withdraw from a competition that you had slated?
Let's see. So I party a little bit much every once in a while, but I feel like I tried the other day once in a while. But no, I've never pulled out of a contest. Actually, this year, 4th of July, I had a weird sore throat, but I went away the day of the contest. But at the contest time, but I can't. Yeah, I love these competitions. It's really as weird as it sounds, as crazy as it is. There's not that many ways to injure yourself.
Now, I talked to you briefly the day before the event on Friday, and you seem pretty calm, relaxed, but as you lead into the eat, are you still getting nervous at this point, or right now because you have so many under your belt and you have the victories, is it all business for you now, and you have such a track record of domination in the sport? Do you expect to win, and the nerves aren't as much anymore?
I get nervous. I'm a shy guy by nature. But I also like the nervousness. It gets the adrenaline pumping a little bit. It helps me focus a little bit more. It's not a nervousness where I'm a wreck, but it definitely makes me aware of the situation, and it increases my intensity. And it's good because it helps me. When we're on stage eating, I tell myself I have to eat with a sense of urgency, and those are ways to eat. Don't eat normally. It just it makes the situation more real, and it makes me push as hard as I can for those 10 minutes or 12 minutes or however long it is.
Now, it had to be like one of the hottest July 4th weekends on record up there in New York, 90-plus degrees when the event actually came off. How big of a factor does that kind of heat play to you? Do you game plan for it? Because obviously you're watching forecasts as well. Or do you just something you adjust to on the fly? Or is it not even a factor at all?
Oh, it's definitely a factor, unfortunately. That's with me. one of these days I'm going to get a personal trainer and get in shape. But until then, it's definitely going to be a factor. And day of the contest, I usually stop drinking water just because I want to make sure I'm absolutely empty. And the way I know my body and the way my stomach holds on to things, if I drink fluids the day of the contest, it'll just stay on my stomach and waste my capacity. So I have to make sure I'm hydrated the night before enough, and make sure I'm not so hydrated I'm actually bloated. So it's a day like on this 4th of July, I was feeling a little bit dehydrated, a little bit cruddy going into the contest. But I was hoping just the adrenaline would help me push through all the feelings, and I realized I was in trouble because I kind of stopped sweating, and I don't know. I most like I was definitely on my mind, and just that it was on my mind probably affected me a little bit. But I mean, that's something I'll eventually have to figure out and how to get better and just deal with it.
We're talking with Joey Chestnut. He's currently ranked number 1 in the sport of Major League Eating, is governed by the IFOCE. That's the International Federation of Competitive Eating. So, Joey, as we break down July 4th, you were out very quickly in the first minute of that competition. 10 hot dogs and buns consumed. Did you feel that getting to that first 10 in that first minute was key to victory?
I'm not going to talk bad about the rest of the field, but I knew I could probably eat for 7 or 6 minutes and still beat the guys if I needed to. But I mean, I knew that first minute. I mean, if everything was working perfect, I could do 13 hot dogs, and that'd be a good record-breaking pace. So, I mean, at the first minute I did 10, the first minute I knew I wasn't going as fast as I should have been. After the first minute, I knew I was going to break the record, but I just wanted to get into a nice, safe rhythm and make sure that I was able to get the victory without barfing. And it's weird. Without Kobayashi pushing me, I know I definitely got a little bit lazy, and I wish I didn't.
And for the people that don't know, if you yank on stage, that's like automatic disqualification, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You barf on stage, you're a big number. You're a big loser, big DQ. And I was quite happy I was able to just keep it all together and get the victory.
Now, Eater X, better known as Tim Janis, better known as Eater X to the competitive eating faithful out there, really ended up mounting to be your biggest competition during the course of that 10 minutes. He was within 4 to 6 hot dogs within that first 5 minutes or so. But right about the 7-minute mark, you were able to actually put some distance between you two, bumping the lead out to 10 overall hot dogs and buns. You were at 43 with 3 minutes left. Did you feel at that point you were pretty much going to win?
Yeah, it was it's ridiculous. This first year I knew that I was going to win just a couple minutes into the contest. Because I see these other eaters throughout the year. It's very hard to surprise another American eater. I mean, every once in a while, I surprise Kobayashi or he surprises me. These American eaters, it's really hard. I mean, I know what Tim is capable of. So he's not going to. I knew he was going to do about that number, and he was expecting me to probably do more. But it was just doing what we train our bodies to do.
So just for fun, at 41 hot dogs, you broke the 12,000 calorie benchmark for that point in the competition. Just for comparison, there was a lot of talk made during the Summer Olympics because the amount of food or calories that Michael Phelps was eating while he was training for the upcoming Olympics, which was 12,000 calories a day during the training. You did it in 7 minutes. For some people, 12,000 calories would take maybe 10, 12 days to actually accumulate in their body. Any idea how many calories you're taking in when you aren't eating at an event? Are you taking in the regular FDA 12 to 1,500 calories or whatever?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm fasting, and I'm fasting on almost no salt foods, minimal calories. I'll take in about 400 calories a day while I'm fasting, preparing for a contest, and while I'm recovering. And right now, I'm pretty much a normal diet. I might be a little bit higher than average, just because I'm still just celebrating a little bit every now and then. But I mean, right now I'm on a normal diet. If I have a contest, I'm not going to train like a madman for it. I'll do a fast beforehand, and I should be able to beat everybody there. But yeah, granted, the 50 some odd hot dogs is about 20,000 calories, and or 68 hot dogs, I think it was 20,000, and it was it just takes your body. It's not natural necessarily, but your body can adapt and do whatever you do it, make it do if you know how to do it and know how to push yourself.
All right, so as the 10 minutes click off, you finish with 54 hot dogs and buns eaten, and I think that's, again, an important point to make note of. It's not just hot dogs, it's hot dog and buns. Janice eats 43, you win by 11, you ate 16,038 calories in 10 minutes, and to be honest, I mean, you look pretty good. You didn't seem uncomfortable, perhaps. Maybe like you could have kept going for another 5 minutes or so, and I'm sure there is a large portion of the audience that assumes that you are making a run for the nearest porta-john to unload the dogs, but that's not the case for you, is it?
No, it's very rare for me to get sick. There's been times where I've actually I've been more dehydrated than I was this 4th of July, but this 4th of July I didn't actually push my absolute capacity, so I was able to actually hydrate after I ate and digest the food. So there's only two reasons: either I'm dehydrated or I'm not familiar with the food, and those are the only reasons why I'll get sick. But it's the only way you get better. If you get the food down, digest it, you can go up a little bit more next time. And that's the way I kind of push my body to the new limit every time.
Joey Chestnut's joining us here on the Barbecue Central show after dark. No names, please, Joey, but are there other competitors out there that look to finish, but then as soon as they're done and the game has been called, they're renting the food versus actually digesting it like you are?
I mean, it's kind of easy to tell. You can just see the way their facial expressions after the contest and how fast they get off the stage. But I mean, yeah, you can tell. You can see if they hit a wall after 6 or 7 minutes and don't eat anymore. That means that they're not in control anymore. They can't control their body, and their body's making them stop. So it's you can tell. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you watch the video again, you say, "Oh, there's probably about a third of the eaters who get sick, and those are the third of the eaters I make fun of after every contest."
It's hard for them, right?
I mean, it's hard for everybody, but it's easy. I mean, everybody's been in some sort of eating contest growing up. I mean, even critics of competitive eating, people who hate it, they'll admit they've done some sort of eating contest in their life, and it's a weird feeling pushing your body in this way. And some people, I mean, almost everybody kind of likes it, but it's funny.
Now, when it was all said and done, you take $10,000 for the event. So obviously, not a bad payday for 10 minutes of your life. But given all the drama with leading up to with Kobayashi not going or taking part or not taking part, ultimately he wasn't taking part. Was there more press this year than in years past because of everything encompassing? Was this the most press covered hot dog eating contest that you've been a part of?
It probably was the most press covered just because the whole contract. The thing brought aside the competitive eating that people like, well, there's actually contracts involved in competitive eating, so that there was got a lot of people's attention just that alone. That these guys who push their bodies in ridiculous ways are getting contracts. But I mean, every 4th of July there's an amazing amount of media attention. Every from all across the country, to newspapers and reporters all around the world are there. So it's a big event either way. I admit that you're right. This year did get a little bit more attention.
So July 4th wraps up, and maybe while the other eaters actually take some time to digest, you're on a very quick turnaround schedule. 8 days later, you're in Lincoln City, Oregon at the Chinook Winds Casino Resort taking part in an event which you have pretty much owned over the last 5 years, that being the barbecue rib eating contest. You broke your own record.
Oh, my God. It's so great to go there. That place is a pretty good little barbecue festival, little cook-off, and it's great to go there because I know so many people there now. And this year, Pat Bertoletti, a great eater out of Chicago, tried to challenge me, and they were so upset because I was out partying a little bit the night before, and I did not look too good before the contest started, but I was able to keep it together and pull it through for the fans and end up beating them by over a pound.
Yeah, I mean,
like 9 points.
You break your own record of 8.8 pounds with a 9.5 pound effort in 12 minutes that day. Is it tough to go from an 8-day turnaround, just days before or just days after that big event in New York, where you're back down somewhere else? Is the belly, or perhaps is it not because the belly's kind of already in game shape?
It's exactly right. My body is in perfect shape. It's used to digesting massive amounts of food, and all I have to do is keep my body on a little bit of a cycle, or I'll after the 4th of July, I fasted a little bit, didn't eat too much. Then I had another big meal 3 days later, and then I started fasting for the next rib contest. And ribs 9.5 pounds of ribs sounds like a lot, but I mean, in actuality, those ribs they're delicious and they're slippery and easy to swallow. And I didn't have to drink that much water during the contest. So, I mean, even after the contest, I probably only gained maybe 12 pounds. And after a hot dog contest, I'll gain close to 20 pounds with the hot dogs, buns, and water. So, I mean, I was nowhere near my capacity after the rib contest.
Do you know what your put-on-weight capacity is?
Oh, yeah. I mean, after a hot dog contest, I'll with the hot dogs, buns, and water, I'll weigh myself before and after, and I'll gain 25 to 26 pounds regularly.
I mean,
and then there's a lot of that is water, so eventually it's going to work its way out, and then that food, it's food, and so it also digests it, and a lot of that. I'm assuming my body. I talked to a doctor. He said there's no way your body will absorb all those calories. So there is food not being completely digested, but it's competition. I'm pushing my body hard.
So Bertoletti, as you had mentioned, was in there with you, another very accomplished competitive eater. For the people that weren't there to watch it in person, because obviously this wasn't televised or wasn't streamed anywhere online, were you in control again right from the start, or was there a little bit more competitive nature to that?
No, it was weird because it looked like he was beating me, but the rib contests are tough to judge because you can't really tell who's ahead just by looking, because somebody can move on to their second plate, but they're not cleaning very well. That's what Pat was doing. He was moving quick, but he wasn't getting the meat off the bone. I was making sure I was cleaning the bones really well. I have a pretty good technique, and so I knew I was cleaning them better than him, but he'd always move on to the next plate before me. So it looked like he was ahead. So, but towards the end, actually, he always slowed down at the end, and I eventually even got a plate ahead of him, and eventually it was there I won.
Joey Chestnut joining us here on the Barbecue Central Show After Dark. As far as the ribs are concerned, Joey, do you get them? Are they like baby back ribs? Are they spare ribs? And are they come on the bone? So are they weighing what's left over as far as the actual eating them out?
These were spare rib, I think. They're delicious. I mean, that place, they actually, the casino who runs the contest in Lincoln City, they enter their own ribs into the cook-off, and they usually do pretty well. And so they're proud of the ribs, and they make sure they're served really, really nice and warm. And there's two rib cook-offs that I like to go to. There's that one, and there's one in Reno. Both serve awesome ribs. So I mean, the places that serve ribs, they like to make sure they taste good.
That's key, right? I mean, it's got to taste good in order for you to want to consume massive amounts.
Oh, yeah, and that's another thing. If they taste good, I'm gonna definitely eat more. And also, they know I'm honest. If they taste bad, I'm gonna tell the media that the ribs suck. I mean, there's a casino in where the heck was I? Somewhere in Mississippi, Lulu, Mississippi. And those ribs were awful. Never gonna go to another one of the contests again.
See, I mean, you eat this much barbecue. I mean, you're kind of an aficionado of sorts, at least with the ribs, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can tell good ribs from bad ribs, and if there's a weird spice in there that's not in the right proportion, it'll eventually build up, and I'll taste it.
Now, you take $1,500 away from that event, so substantially less than the payday for July 4th, obviously. But, I mean, you're on streaks with both of these events, 4 wins in a row at the hot dog eating contest up in New York, and then 6. This was your 6th rib win in a row. Does one record mean more to you than the other, or as regarding his streaks, are they all special?
Ribs, in its own way, is a very special contest for me. So I've been going there for so long, and one every year I go there, and the casinos, that place is awesome. They take care of me. And but hot dogs by far is the most important contest of the year. And like I said earlier, I can't believe Kobayashi would actually decided not to go. And it was a lame excuse over a contract, especially over a contract that he had signed previously. It still doesn't make sense to me. So without a doubt, hot dogs is that streak right now, and the championship is without a doubt the most important contest for me.
Now, this past weekend in Seattle, you took part in a unique event in cooperation with Jimmy John's Sandwiches. How did that go, and what's the concept?
It's a weird concept. It's something I'm not used to. No, it's weird. It's completely way out in left field, and but it's kind of fun at the end, even though my team lost. So we have 3 people making sandwiches. It's Jimmy John's best sandwich makers, fastest. And then there's 3 people eating. And the sandwich makers have 5 minutes to make sandwiches. And after 30 seconds, we start eating the sandwiches they make. And we have 5 minutes to eat all the sandwiches they make within their 5 minutes. So they actually made 22 sandwiches, and we ate 21. So it was damn close. I was a little bit irritated. My teammates weren't holding up their end of the bargain.
I mean, so it's got to be hard, right? I mean, being the number one guy when it comes to competitive eating. Plus, on top of all that, you ate July 4th, you ate 8 days later, and then what are you, 5 days maybe removed from the rib eating contest? Now you're sucking down Jimmy John sandwiches. Do the other guys that are on the team understand the fact that they really have to step their game up in order to be anywhere near in your league as far as food that you can consume?
They know how hard I work for the hot dogs and how much thought I put into it. I'm very competitive though. I don't know if you're aware of, like, Shaun White, the snowboarder.
Oh yeah.
And the way he trains Olympics, and he went away and trained away from everybody. He had a special half-pipe build, and so nobody knew what he was doing or how he was training. Same way as for me. I'm not going to really tell everybody how I'm doing it, exactly how my trainings are going. They'll be able to tell I'm training well because I'll go to a contest and I'll blow everybody away. So they're aware in that fashion, but we're very competitive, and they know that I work very hard at this, and I enjoy it. And they know that they know when I'm getting on stage and I'm smiling. It's smiling because not because I think I'm going to win. I know that I'm going to make them suffer, and it's good.
So in a competition that's set up with this Jimmy John's like this event, is it frustrating for you to know that the other 2 guys maybe weren't stepping it up as much as you were? I
mean, I can't expect everybody to eat like me. If I expected everybody to eat like me, I wouldn't win as much. But I have to. I mean, they could. I mean, I don't know. I don't even blame them nearly as much. I think that they were able to sneak one more sandwich in at the end. I think it was a setup that they.
And maybe you're very.
I mean, the contest was held by Jimmy John's, and they want to be able to say their sandwich makers are the fastest. That's what I think happened.
And maybe
they got a little bit of it.
Maybe your competitive fire is something that adds to the whole thing as well. You just don't want to lose regardless.
No matter what, yeah. I mean, even if it was set up, I still want to win.
Now, I assume that you have August 21st marked out on the calendar. It's another event that you have really dominated over these past 3 years, that being the Goiza, or however the hell you say it, pot sticker eating championship in Los Angeles. In 2008, you ate 231 chicken and vegetable sticks. You looking to eclipse that effort, and can you not really assume a record? Or is it something that you kind of feel in that first few bites if you know you really have a spectacular occasion within you?
Well, I do like the events in Los Angeles, but this year, Pepto-Bismol, they are showing Joey Chestnut some love, and I'm actually doing a series of events for them in August, and so I'm going to be doing this year. I'll be doing sushi in San Francisco.
Wow! Weekend. You know the IFOC website has you listed as showing up at the Goiza event, right?
No, they don't, do they?
It was about 3 or 4 days ago when I was doing my research.
Oh, maybe.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked you the question.
I might be able to do both of them. Who knows? They might be able to make it work.
All right. So what's the sushi event like? What are you eating? Is it like spring rolls? Or are you just sucking down raw tuna, or what?
No, they haven't come up with the actual food yet. Pepto Bismol, they're going to be holding at the event. There's people signing up for the event already online. I think on Pepto Bismol website, and I'll be going against 3 amateurs to see if they can actually eat more than me. And we'll see. I'll make them wish they had their Pepto Bismol afterwards.
I mean, that can possibly happen, right? I mean, do you foresee somebody, or do you ever foresee
3 people adding up their totals to try and beat me?
Well, I mean, do you ever foresee somebody just kind of snaking out of the woodwork as an amateur and then beating you in an eating competition? Just one person?
No. They would definitely have to be. Yeah, no one person I don't think could beat me. They have to be a team of people, and so 3 people I think maybe will have a chance to beat me. But we'll see. Hopefully, if my body's so cooperating, I'll be able to beat any number of people.
We're talking with Joey Chestnut. He's the number 1 ranked Major League eater according to IFOCE. Joe, you probably answer this quite a bit, and I get actually answered this kind of a question, or I actually get asked this kind of a question because of the niche that I cater to, which is, part of it is actually competitive barbecuing, where these guys go out on circuits and compete with their barbecue to win prizes and so forth. Do you personally consider the competitive eating to be a quote-unquote real sport, or do you view it personally perhaps as more of a novelty?
Well, that's a weird question. I mean, who can sport? At first, I really didn't consider it a sport at all. I thought it was just a talent that I really love to do. But then as I became more competitive, and I started to figure out how to push my body, there's no way I could continue to push my body that hard without calling it a sport. And so I call it a sport, and so I can understand why some people wouldn't, but it's definitely, to me, I can improve, and the competitiveness, and there's a physical aspect, and there's pain involved, and there's a mental aspect. So it's easy. Now it's easy for me to call it a sport, but it's like some people don't call darts a sport, or some people don't call bowling a sport, and until you really push yourself in that fashion. I mean, you can't really say something about a sport.
Now, I wonder, because we had kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier as far as contracts are concerned, but does the IFOC have, like, you and maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 other guys, like, under a contract like the UFC does with some of their big fighters, or is it kind of a event-to-event thing?
It's event to event. I have an agreement with them that I will compete in their events only, or compete in events if they give me permission. So, and the truth is, they run all the big events, the MLE, Major League Eating, and so I mean, they run all the big events, and I'm invited to all of them. Most of the time, I give a fair fee, and I like the way they run their events. They make sure they're safe, and they make sure the food is decent, at least, and they make sure the winner is the winner. So there's proper judging. I am signed on with MLE, and there's actually, I think, almost all of them are. And Kobayashi is still signed on with Major League Eating. He has the opportunity to compete in any event he wants.
And are there events out there right now that get in contact with you and say, hey, we want you to come out to this event, and regardless if you win or not, we'll give you like a guarantee purse, and we'll fly you from San Jose out to Timbuktu and take care of all those expenses for you, because we want to have number 1 at the contest to help them perhaps draw more sponsorship, more of the bigger talented competitive eaters to make their event come off even bigger and better.
It's a crazy idea, but it happens. It happened for Lincoln City. They knew that I was going to do media for them and get some media attention for them. It's happening this week. There's a ridiculous Mars bar eating contest. It's going on at Comic-Con in San Diego, and it's to promote a Red Faction video game for Xbox. And so it's then the video game takes place on Mars. So that's why they're having a Mars bar eating contest. So they're having me come out for that event and taking care of me with an appearance fee.
So, and we've talked about what you've accumulated, prize winning wise. over the last handful of years, and no doubt about it. I mean, it's a good living that a lot of people would like to make. What you're doing just at the competitive eating side. As time has weared on, have you thought about getting out of the day job and just riding this for however long it's going to be?
Absolutely not. I love my normal job. I work in construction management. I get to work around with a bunch of crazy dudes who are swinging hammers and working on heavy machinery. So I have fun at my normal job. It's on the weekends I sometimes take off work early on Friday or maybe miss Friday, but usually I don't have to miss any work at all. But on the weekends I'm a warrior. I go out and travel to a new place and meet tons of great people and do what I love to do, and I eat.
Now, so you're widely considered to be the best eater out there right now, and this isn't something. And you seem incredibly down to earth. And that's the first thing that I thought when we had talked the very first time about a year ago. While you go into talking about the training and the throat, getting your throat muscles tuned, and how you're not worried about choking, because at this point it's like, a swimmer not worried about drowning is just something that you do at this point. But you obviously realize that this isn't something that you're going to be doing for the next 15 or 20 years, as we've talked in the past. Eating is what you do on the weekends. You have the real job in construction management during the week. How will you know, Joey, when it's time to kind of wash the dishes and call it a competitive eating career?
Oh, I'm hoping somebody like you will tell me.
I'll never tell you. I want to talk to you continuously. Forget about it.
I mean, as long as I'm having fun, as long as I'm healthy, as long as I don't think I'm missing out on other parts of my life, I'm going to definitely be doing this. Those are the things that are important to me. Making sure I'm healthy and having fun. And, it's ridiculous. I mean, I travel to festivals and events, and it's not like work. I just go there and eat, and I just have fun and meet people and shake hands and sign autographs and kiss babies. It's ridiculous.
So warming you up for the career in politics after the Major League Eating career is over, Joey. No doubt about it. So do you see any potential successor coming up through the ranks right now? Somebody you might have seen at a competition that might be doing like an amateur side the day before the MLEs get there that might have a shot at assuming your throne when you actually decide to step away?
Well, every once in a while somebody has a great performance. Ben Monson, this guy, he's like 6'6" out of San Diego. He beat me one time. And he's an awesome eater if he figures out how to push his body. He definitely has the build, and he's already a bodybuilder, so he knows how to push his body in one way. So he has to just figure out how to be a competitive eater. So, I mean, he could be a good eater if he figured it out. Pat Bertoletti, he's an awesome eater. I've known him for 5 years. I don't know if he's getting. I don't know what it would take for him to get better, but there's every contest I'm seeing new faces, and it's. I mean, it gets harder and harder to get into the 4th of July. This year, I think a lot of veterans didn't get into the 4th of July eating contest, and it was there's some new faces in there, and it's crazy the amount of popularity it's getting, and people are going out their first contest and doing 25 hot dogs. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was another person like me coming out in the next 2 years.
Do you ever see a time potentially where, because as the sport grows and as people want to get better, and I can akin this a little bit back to competition barbecue, where you see people, you have like yourself, let's call you, one of the winningest pit masters are out there on the competition circuit. Well, now a lot of these guys are actually putting on weekend classes where they charge, it's depending on who it is and where it is, it's $500, $600, $700 a head for a weekend, and they're basically showing you everything that they do from start to finish at a competition. Do you see a point where maybe you're going to decide to get out of it and offer up the Joey Chestnut archive of services on how to be the best at competitive eating and lay out what you've done, obviously for a fee, to somebody that might want to get better and help them train, be like the MLE personal trainer?
No. Yeah, that's just the whole. I'm pretty lighthearted about the whole competitive eating thing. And it's I'm just having fun with it. I can't see myself having a training school. If anything, I'll do a charity, bringing poor kids into nice restaurants and teaching them. Taking kids to nice restaurants. That's the only only other thing I was thinking about involving eating. But I just yeah, I mean, once it's done, it's done. Once I'm out of it, but I'm just having fun with it. Every year I'm amazed how much more how much more people are following it. This year, I mean, we got Pepto-Bismol involved, and it was the Old Navy, and I'm still working on a deal with Hooters International to work at an international ad campaign. So it's I'm amazed at how far it's gone, and I'm just having fun with it.
Yeah, certainly you're a big part of that, Joey. And again, this is Joey Chestnut. He's currently ranked number 1 in the world for competitive eating, according to the International Federation of Competitive Eating. He won his 4th consecutive muster belt July 4th at the Nathan's World Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest and his 6th consecutive Barbecue Rib Eating Championship on the 12th of this month at the Chinook Winds Resort in Lincoln City, Oregon. So look for that sushi event sometime in August. And Joey, I certainly appreciate you coming on. Glad we could get you reloaded for the show tonight, and appreciate you making time for the show tonight. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me on. Great to be on with you again, finally.
All right, take care, Joey. There he is. Joey Chestnut, baby. Endlessly fascinating to me. Maybe not to you. Endlessly fascinating to me. That's going to wrap it up. Thanks to Joey Chestnut for joining me. Killed it. 47 minutes of competitive eating succulence. Man, oh man. That's a lot of calories, bro. But he can do it. Nobody else can figure it out. What he's figured out. Let's look ahead to next week. Coming up on the 27th, Pork Barrel Barbecue going to be joining us during the first hour. Loaded up for After Dark at the 10 o'clock hour. Myron Mixon going to be joining us talking about Season 2 of Barbecue Pitmasters. Also, we'll probably talk to him a little bit about that Taste of the Valley. CelebrateTheValley.com is that website for more information. So look for that next week on the 27th. And until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, this is your program host and proud U.S. American Greg Rempe. Good night now.